2020, the town of Blackburn in the United Kingdom was shaken by a tragic incident that left the community in mourning. A young woman named Aya Hashim lost her life in a senseless act of violence, a crime that not only devastated her family, but also highlighted the challenges faced by immigrant families striving to build a new life in a foreign land. Aya Hashim was a bright and promising 19-year-old student who had her whole future ahead of her. Her family had immigrated from Lebanon to the UK, seeking a safer and more prosperous life. In Lebanon, they had experienced the harsh realities of conflict and instability, which motivated them to move to a place where they believed their children would have better opportunities and a more secure environment. However, the events that unfolded in Blackburn shattered these hopes and dreams. Aya's story is not just one of loss, but also of the resilience and strength of a family trying to overcome the odds. Her family's journey from Lebanon to the UK was marked by the universal immigrant experience, the search for safety, the desire for a better future, and the hope that hard work and determination would lead to a life free from the fears that had plagued their homeland. This introduction serves as a reminder of the complexities and sometimes harsh realities faced by immigrant families. It sets the stage for a deeper exploration of Aya Hashim's life, the circumstances surrounding her tragic death, and the broader social and cultural issues that her story brings to light. In 2011, the Hashim family made the momentous decision to leave their home in Lebanon and immigrate to the United Kingdom. Driven by the desire to escape the ongoing turmoil and conflict in their homeland, they sought a safer, more stable environment where they could rebuild their lives and provide their children with better opportunities. Blackburn, a town known for its diversity and strong community spirit, became their new home. Aya Hashim, one of the Hashim family's 4 children, embraced her new life in the UK with remarkable determination and enthusiasm. She quickly adapted to her surroundings, excelling in her studies and forming meaningful connections with her peers. Aya was known for her warm personality, kindness, and strong sense of justice. Her friends and teachers often spoke of her dedication to her studies and her aspiration to make a positive impact on the world. By 2020, Aya was a promising law student at Salford University. She had chosen this field of study with the dream of becoming a solicitor, driven by a profound desire to help others and fight for justice. Aya's academic pursuits were not merely a path to a career, they were a reflection of her deep-seated values and her commitment to making a difference in her community. Her future was bright, filled with potential and promise, as she diligently worked towards her goals. The morning of May 17, 2020, began like any other day for Aya Hashim. It was a sunny Sunday, and she had planned to make a routine trip to the supermarket. Little did she know that this ordinary day would end in tragedy. Aya left her home in Blackburn and walked towards the nearby little supermarket to buy groceries for her family. This was a simple, everyday task that she had done countless times before. As she made her way to the store, she was likely thinking about her studies, her family, and her future. The bustling sounds of the town, the occasional chatter of passers-by, and the distant hum of traffic formed the backdrop to her walk. However, the tranquility of that Sunday afternoon was shattered in an instant. As Aya walked past a car dealership, a series of shots rang out. In a cruel twist of fate, Aya was caught in the crossfire of a drive-by shooting, an innocent bystander in a senseless act of violence. The shots were fired from a passing vehicle, intended for someone else entirely. One of the bullets struck Aya, causing her to collapse on the pavement. Emergency services were quickly called to the scene, but despite their efforts, Aya succumbed to her injuries. The community was left in shock and grief, struggling to comprehend the sudden and brutal loss of such a young and promising life. Aya Hashim's death was a heartbreaking reminder of how fragile and precious life is, and how easily it can be taken away. In the days that followed, vigils and memorials were held in her honor, with people from all walks of life coming together to mourn the loss of a vibrant young woman who had touched many lives. The incident not only highlighted the senselessness of violence, but also underscored the importance of community solidarity in the face of tragedy. Aya's story is a poignant example of the challenges faced by immigrant families and the hopes they carry for their children. Her untimely death is a tragic reminder of the ongoing struggle for justice and the need for a society that values and protects all its members, regardless of their background or origin. On May 17, 2020, at approximately 3 p.m., Aya Hashim was walking along King Street in Blackburn, heading towards the Lidl supermarket to complete a routine grocery run. The day was bright and sunny, and the streets were filled with the usual bustle of a Sunday afternoon. However, what should have been an ordinary errand quickly turned into a scene of unimaginable horror. As Aya passed by a car dealership on King Street, a dark-colored Toyota Avensis drove by. Inside the vehicle were individuals intent on carrying out a violent act. Unbeknownst to Aya, they had been planning a drive-by shooting targeting someone else entirely. In a horrific turn of events, shots were fired from the moving car. One of the bullets struck Aya, causing her to collapse on the pavement. The sound of gunfire reverberated through the street, causing panic and confusion among bystanders. People rushed to Aya's side, attempting to provide aid while emergency services were called. Within minutes, paramedics and police arrived at the scene. Despite the best efforts of the emergency responders, Aya's injuries proved fatal, and she was pronounced dead shortly after their arrival. The immediate aftermath of the shooting was one of shock and disbelief. Aya's family, upon hearing the devastating news, was engulfed in grief. Their beloved daughter, sister, and beacon of hope had been cruelly taken from them. The community of Blackburn, too, was deeply affected, mourning the loss of a promising young woman whose life had been cut short in such a senseless manner. The police response to the shooting was swift and comprehensive. Detectives from Lancashire Constabulary immediately launched a murder investigation, appealing to the public for any information that could lead to the apprehension of those responsible. The urgency of the situation was palpable, as officers worked tirelessly to piece together the events that had led to Aya's tragic death. One of the first significant breakthroughs in the investigation came with the discovery of the Toyota Avensis used in the shooting. The vehicle was found abandoned not far from the scene of the crime. Forensic experts meticulously examined the car, gathering crucial evidence that would prove instrumental in identifying the suspects. In parallel with the forensic analysis, the police scrutinized CCTV footage from the area. The grainy images from multiple cameras painted a clearer picture of the events leading up to and following the shooting. The footage captured the Toyota Avensis driving through the streets of Blackburn, as well as the moment the shots were fired. This visual evidence provided vital leads and helped the police to track the movements of the vehicle and its occupants. As the investigation progressed, detectives conducted numerous interviews, canvassed the neighborhood, and followed up on every tip and piece of information provided by the public. The community's cooperation was invaluable, with many residents coming forward to assist in the search for justice for Aya Hashim. The relentless efforts of the police and the support of the Blackburn community underscored the collective determination to ensure that those responsible for Aya's death would be held accountable. The investigation was a testament to the resilience and solidarity of a community united in grief, yet resolved to seek justice for a young woman whose life was tragically cut short. The investigation into Aya Hashim's murder gradually zeroed in on a group of individuals who played key roles in the tragic event. Among the primary suspects were Feroz Suleiman, Zamir Raja, Anthony Ennis, and several others. Each of these men had a distinct role in the planning and execution of the crime, which was ultimately aimed at settling a business dispute, but tragically ended in the death of an innocent young woman. Feroz Suleiman was identified as the mastermind behind the plot. Suleiman, a local businessman, had been embroiled in a bitter feud with a rival business owner. His anger and desire for retribution led him to orchestrate the attack. He was the one who devised the plan to carry out a drive-by shooting intended to intimidate and harm his rival. Zamir Raja was recruited as the gunman. Known for his criminal background, Raja was seen as someone who could carry out the shooting with precision and without hesitation. His role was to fire the weapon from the moving vehicle, a task he undertook on the fateful day. Anthony Ennis was the driver of the Toyota Avensis. Ennis's job was to navigate the streets of Blackburn, positioning the vehicle so that Raja could execute the shooting. His involvement was crucial in the logistical execution of the crime, ensuring the vehicle was in the right place at the right time. Other individuals were also implicated, including those who assisted in acquiring the vehicle and planning the logistics of the crime. Each person involved played a significant role, contributing to the overall execution of the tragic event. On the day of the crime, May 17, 2020, the suspects' activities were meticulously planned and executed. Here is a detailed timeline of their movements and how the police eventually linked each suspect to the crime. Morning hours. Feroz Suleiman and his associates finalized their plans. They communicated via phone calls and meetings, ensuring everyone knew their roles. Surveillance footage and phone records later revealed these interactions, providing crucial evidence of their conspiracy. 1 p.m., 2 p.m. The Toyota Avensis, driven by Anthony Ennis, was seen driving around Blackburn, likely scouting the area and ensuring the target location was within reach. CCTV footage from multiple locations captured the car's movements, which were later used by the police to trace its route. 2:30 p.m. Zamir Raja, carrying the firearm, joined Ennis in the Toyota Avensis. The vehicle's distinctive features and Raja's presence were confirmed by witnesses and additional CCTV footage. 3 p.m. The Toyota Avensis approached King Street, where Aya Hashim was walking towards the Lidl supermarket. The suspects waited for the opportune moment to carry out their plan. 3:05 p.m. As Aya passed by the car dealership, the Toyota Avensis slowed down. Raja, seated in the passenger seat, fired several shots from the moving vehicle. Tragically, one of the bullets struck Aya, causing her to collapse on the pavement. The vehicle then sped away from the scene. 3:10 p.m., 4 p.m. The suspects attempted to cover their tracks. The Toyota Avensis was abandoned not far from the crime scene, and the suspects dispersed. Forensic evidence from the vehicle, including fingerprints and DNA, later linked the suspects to the crime. Evening hours. The police launched an immediate investigation. Public appeals were made for information, and within hours, crucial tips and CCTV footage began to surface. Detectives worked tirelessly, analyzing phone records, interviewing witnesses, and piecing together the suspects' movements. Following days. The investigation rapidly progressed. Feroz Suleiman, Zamir Raja, and Anthony Ennis were identified as key suspects through a combination of forensic evidence, surveillance footage, and witness testimonies. The police conducted raids, leading to their arrests and the seizure of additional evidence linking them to the crime. The comprehensive police work, bolstered by community support, ensured that the individuals responsible for Aya Hashim's death were brought to justice. The detailed chronology of the events and the roles played by each suspect highlighted the calculated nature of the crime and the tragic consequences of their actions. Through diligent investigation and the tireless efforts of law enforcement, the perpetrators were held accountable, offering a measure of justice for Aya and her grieving family. The tragic murder of Aya Hashim had its roots in a bitter business rivalry between two local businessmen in Blackburn, Feroz Suleiman and Pachat Khan. Both men owned tire businesses located in close proximity to each other, and their competition had escalated into a personal feud marked by hostility and antagonism. The rivalry between Suleiman and Khan was characterized by a series of escalating disputes. Tensions ran high as both men sought to outdo each other, vying for dominance in the local market. This competition took a dark turn when Suleiman, consumed by anger and a desire for retribution, decided to take drastic action. He resolved that the only way to decisively end the feud and intimidate his rival was through violence. Suleiman's decision to hire a hitman underscored the severity of his intentions. He sought out individuals willing to carry out a drive-by shooting targeting Khan's business. The plan was intended to send a clear and terrifying message, but instead, it resulted in the tragic and unintended death of Aya Hashim, an innocent bystander. Following the identification and arrest of the key suspects, Feroz Suleiman, Zamir Raja, Anthony Ennis, and others, the legal process moved swiftly. The suspects were charged with various offenses, including murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and possession of a firearm with intent to endanger life. The police presented a strong case, supported by a wealth of evidence, including forensic data, CCTV footage, and witness testimonies. During the trial, the prosecution meticulously laid out the sequence of events leading up to Aya's murder. Testimonies from law enforcement officials, forensic experts, and eyewitnesses painted a comprehensive picture of the crime. Phone records and CCTV footage further corroborated the involvement of each suspect. Zamir Raja, the gunman, and Anthony Ennis, the driver, were central to the prosecution's case. Raja's role as the shooter was confirmed through ballistic evidence and eyewitness accounts, while Ennis's participation as the driver was established through CCTV footage and his own admissions during police interviews. Feroz Suleiman's role as the mastermind was underscored by testimonies and evidence that highlighted his orchestration of the plot. Conversations and messages exchanged between Suleiman and his accomplices revealed the depth of his involvement and his determination to carry out the violent act. The conclusion of the trial saw the convicted individuals receive significant sentences, reflecting the gravity of their actions and the tragic loss of an innocent life. Each sentence was handed down with the intention of delivering justice for Aya Hashim and deterring similar acts of violence in the future. Feroz Suleiman was sentenced to life imprisonment with a minimum term of 34 years for his role as the mastermind behind the murder. The judge emphasized Suleiman's calculated and vengeful actions, highlighting the premeditated nature of the crime and the devastating consequences it had for Aya's family and the community. Zamir Raja received a life sentence with a minimum term of 33 years. As the gunman who directly caused Aya's death, Raja's sentence reflected the severity of his actions and his willingness to participate in such a heinous act. Anthony Ennis was also sentenced to life imprisonment, with a minimum term of 33 years. His role as the driver was crucial to the execution of the crime, and the judge noted his full awareness and participation in the plot. Other accomplices involved in the planning and facilitation of the crime received varying sentences based on their levels of involvement. The court took into account their criminal records, the extent of their participation, and their cooperation during the investigation. In his closing remarks, the judge condemned the actions of the convicted individuals, stating that the murder of Aya Hashim was a senseless and tragic loss of a young life filled with promise. He emphasized the importance of justice and the need for society to come together to prevent such acts of violence. The sentence is aimed not only to punish the perpetrators, but also to serve as a deterrent to others who might consider similar actions. Aya Hashim's murder was a stark reminder of the destructive power of vengeance and the innocent lives that can be caught in the crossfire of such conflicts. The legal proceedings and resulting sentences brought a measure of justice to her family and underscored the community's resolve to stand against violence and uphold the principles of law and order. The murder of Aya Hashim left an indelible mark on her family, both emotionally and socially. The Hashim family, who had fled Lebanon in search of safety and a brighter future in the United Kingdom, found themselves grappling with a profound and heart-wrenching loss. Aya was not just a beloved daughter and sister. She was a beacon of hope and a testament to their resilience and determination. Emotionally, the family was devastated. The grief of losing Aya, who was just beginning to blossom into adulthood with her dreams and ambitions, was overwhelming. Her parents, who had worked tirelessly to provide for their children and ensure they had opportunities for a better life, were left heartbroken and bereft. Aya's siblings, who looked up to her as a role model and confidant, struggled with the abrupt and violent end to her life. Socially, the Hashim family faced the daunting task of navigating their grief in the public eye. The community of Blackburn rallied around them, offering support and solidarity. Yet the pain of their loss was a deeply personal ordeal that they had to endure amidst the attention and sympathy of the broader public. The family's courage and strength in the face of such tragedy became a poignant reminder of the human cost of violence and the enduring impact of such crimes on loved ones. Despite her untimely death, Aya Hashim's legacy continues to resonate, especially within the academic and local communities. Salford University, where Aya was a dedicated law student, posthumously recognized her academic achievements and her contributions to the university community. In honor of her memory, Salford University established a scholarship in her name, aimed at supporting other aspiring law students who share Aya's passion for justice and desire to make a positive impact on the world. The broader implications of Aya's murder extend beyond the immediate tragedy. Her death sparked conversations about the need for greater community cohesion, the dangers of unchecked rivalries, and the importance of addressing underlying social issues that can lead to violence. Aya's story has become a powerful symbol of the importance of justice, compassion, and the continuous effort to create a society where such senseless acts are prevented. The case of Aya Hashim's murder is a stark reminder of the devastating impact that violence and criminal behavior can have on innocent lives. The meticulous investigation and subsequent legal proceedings ensured that those responsible were brought to justice, providing some measure of closure for Aya's grieving family and community. This case highlights several key issues: the destructive nature of business rivalries taken to extremes, the tragic consequences of involving innocent bystanders in criminal schemes, and the crucial role of community and law enforcement in seeking justice. The sentences handed down to Feroz Suleiman, Zamir Raja, Anthony Ennis, and their accomplices serve as a potent deterrent against similar acts of violence and retribution. As we remember Aya Hashim, we are reminded of her bright potential, her commitment to justice, and the dreams that were tragically cut short. Her legacy endures through the lives she touched, the academic recognition she received, and the ongoing efforts to prevent such tragedies from occurring in the future. Aya's story is a call to action for all of us to work towards a safer, more compassionate society where justice prevails and the memory of those lost to violence is honored with lasting change.